some point for this Alchemist, but I don't know how well that really fits into your build.
Yeah. I think Liquid might have a very slight advantage. The only thing that I fear from both teams is how the fight starts. But that's what Deuce is very good for, is you don't necessarily have to start the fights. You just have to survive the burst and turn fights around.
Yeah.
Whereas for Liquid, it's kind of the same, honestly, with Alk. Whereas last game, we saw the priority of SG Esports picking these heroes that could start the fight. This game does feel a little bit different in that regard.
All right, we're finally into it. Game number 1, Team Liquid versus Mineski. We're going to have our setup here, an off-lane Pugna for mind control. I actually want to tackle that one a little bit. Off-lane Pugna, how you kind of feeling about that? Because that is, I feel like, the bit of a difference that Liquid have made here, that they're running the Chen, which is a little bit unusual for Liquid, let's say, not necessarily for this patch. Maybe they've been watching a lot of Secret. And then the choice of an off-lane Pugna.
I think it works just because you have 3 very self-sufficient cores. Alk obviously is going to get some help, but the other 2 cores for the most part are fine. I feel like Pugna as an off-laner is pretty insane. You just shove the wave out. You don't care if you die. You have really high move speed, which matters so much. You have 380 move speed. It's very hard to lock you down.
So you could just play the lane pretty suicidal.
I mean, what's the worst thing that happens? You die, you walk up top, you blast it 4 or 5 times, you die. You can out-trade the support in most instances. And because you have such a decent amount of move speed, you can just get in and out. Your trades are going to be very good. Look at mind control. He doesn't really care too much. He can trade with the support very easily.
Yeah. Every single time Jabs comes out, you got the movement speed advantage to be able to chase him down.
Yeah.
GH, missing a roll in, is going to take a bit of punishment in return as Ninja Boogie has been babysitting Nana in the mid lane.
Yeah. And this is going to be a very common 4 versus 4 matchup, Night Stalker versus Earthspear, in the sense that they both try to match each other's pace. Both are very well considered fast heroes that can abuse that mid lane. And Ninja Boogie going to do the smart thing, just check out where the Chen is. He wants to make sure that Kuro doesn't get some free movements.
What about this Broodmother? It's notorious Ice hero, but most Broodmothers that we're seeing in this patch have not been off lane. They've been safe lane or mid.
Yeah. I think they just saw a good opportunity for it. They didn't really think that they could match up well in terms of lanes. If they shove the Venom mid, they're okay with that too on the side of Mineski because they can send the Night Stalker over.
Right.
Something I should talk about, or I wanted to bring up, was the Chen pick and how Chen interacts. So Chen nowadays is almost always going to go into the off lane. And generally, if you want to run this hero, you want him with a hero that spams and pushes in the lane so that you can dive in with your creep and be very aggressive. And so if you think about the heroes that can function as that, it's going to be something like the Sand King, for example. Sand King Chen is one of the most common combos because Sand King shoves in the lane, then Chen just wraps around, you smush them together, get a kill.
Okay. Earthspear doesn't do that for you, but Pugna, all your cores do that.
Yeah,
you
need an offlaner.
They shove all the lanes out.
Yes. And it's not as easy as like picking Bad Rider for example. It's more you do need this hero like Sand King or this Pugna that can just outspam. And that's why you see Kuro up at top. Now he's getting pretty aggressive.
And Invis Ninja Boogie is spotting everything out. They may still go for the kill on mind control, though. See if they can just overwhelm him. It was relatively low HP pull. They're going to be able to catch him, Decrepify, and runs himself away. That movement speed is going to allow him to be able to escape. They try and go for the kill on Jabs. Not quite there. Now the roll-in from GH is going to slow down Ninja Boogie.
380 move speed.
Pursuing Kuro. And there you see the strength of the off-lane Pugna.
Yes. Most offlaners would die right there, but just decreps himself, walks away. More like jogs away, more than anything.
Yeah, that was such a crazy change that the Decrepify no longer slows you down in any way. Using it on allies and yourself.
That's absurd.
Mid lane seems to be going pretty well for both sides, both 21 and 2. The Alchemist is kind of going unimpeded, right, which is to the advantage of Liquid. But you do have a lot of late game heroes for Mineski, so you won't be sad about a slow game, right?
I do think they want to do very well in the lanes here. I think that's how they drafted. They did some pretty good counter picks too. So I do think they want things to go a little bit better than this. Of course, the Broodmother doing very well against the Veno. Boggs touched on it briefly. The Veno does have kill potential. But in terms of the pure lane, it's really annoying for him.
Yeah, you can't really spam out wards, right? The Broodmother just gobbles all those wards up pretty easily with her Broodlings.
It's not just that. It's that Veno can't really kill her Broodlings either.
Yeah.
So they're always just kind of this like threat on the map to you. If you notice, every single time Matamba Man steps forward, he just gets an army of spiders on top of him, and he's got a Gale just to get them off.
And he'll try and right-click some of them down, but as you said, aren't going to get too many.
Yeah, it's super inefficient. But you brought this upon yourself, Matu, so you've got no one to blame.
Kuro and GH did rotate down to bottom lane, see if they can relieve Matu a little bit, but Ninja Boogie, he's been keeping vision this whole entire time. He's been following these supports around just outside of that nighttime vision where he can still see.
Yeah, it's been very annoying for them to be able to play on that side of the map. And Mind Control, meanwhile, up at top, still doing very well for himself.
Now, why didn't they do this before? Why didn't they put more pressure on the Brood Mother from the get-go to allow Venomancer a stronger lane from the start?
I feel like Chen, in general, wants to play around that top area. And they wanted to make sure that their Alk, who's more of a win condition than their Veno is, to have a very good start. Because if you think about it, if anybody's going to win them the game, it's going to be this Alchemist. This Venomancer will do Veno things regardless. Like, the main thing about this hero is you just need levels, and you're going to be fine. And he is still getting levels. The amount of farm is a bit lacking.
Ninja Boogie, this is a full gank that they're setting up in the mid lane. It looks like they are going to go for the dive onto mid lane.
Oh, that's
and Reaper Sight is going to be dropped. There it goes. Your first blood comes at level 6. Nana or Moon managed to pick up the last hit on that one thanks to the Reaper Sight. Gets the full heal out as well.
Did he get the execute off? Is that the added 10 seconds?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. He only has a 20. He would have had a 14-second death timer otherwise. I guess he is only level 5. I'm always surprised to see Alk die in the early game. As once again, Matamba Man at bottom. I think they might just go for this dive.
Yeah, he used the Gale on the Broodlings. That is an opening for Ice to go for this kill. With the help of Ninja Boogie, they don't quite trap him in the trees, but they will still be able to run him down pretty easily. And that is another thing, right, is Liquid do not have very good responding heroes, right? Chen isn't a natural TP rotation hero. Maybe that's part of the reason it is so important for them to have strong laning cores, but you could see under dire circumstances, they could do nothing to stop a gank like that.
Yeah, this Broodmother pick paying dividends so far.
Oh, Jesus. What a bouncing snake that was. Mind Control almost dropped to the Mystic Snake.
There is a downside. They don't have the best heroes to fight through things like BKB on the side of Mineski. Once Liquid grabs a few BKBs, things become a little bit more complicated. But laning phase-wise, which we've seen a lot of the scenes prioritized so far, definitely in favor right now of Mineski.
Looking at Miracle. He already has his ultimate up, though, but maybe, just maybe, they can bring him down. No Reaper Scythe up. Ninja Boogie with the double damage. Trying to run him down.
He's got ulti.
Yeah, he's got it now. They're going to be able to bam. Miracle's dead again. 3-0 for Mineski already, but they are going to be able to get the slow. On the Moon with the Pugna coming in. That's going to be a lot of damage that Necrophos just can't stop. Nada is definitely dead, as he's going to be stunned up here and run down with a combination of both Matamba Man and Mind Control, neither of which had their level 6. Looks like that kill will get Mind Control to suck us up.
You know what's crazy? I think if he actually got his Fairy Fire and his wand off during the Ghost Shot duration, he might have lived.
Maybe.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Oh, no. Kuro. He managed to get away. Looks like they blew the Void and they didn't have Cask.
Still, it's been 7 minutes into this game, and Alk has been dead for a full minute of it. With just the added timer alone. That's got to be so depressing. You're in a game, you've essentially played 6 out of the 7 minutes.
But he's now level 6, level 7 area. That's when you can start going toe-to-toe against the Brood Mother. Mid lane, going for Nana, trying to finish him off. Will manage to win him with the Pugna. GH looks to chase out Ninja Boogie while they get free damage on that mid tower.
That is a really costly death.
Yeah.
Back-to-back deaths. It did force Liquid to force a bunch of cores up there, but they can just move Miracle down here to deal with the Brood. Probably one of the better heroes to be able to do it at this point.
I was about to say, isn't this the common thing, right? Brood Mother is going to be met by the Alchemist once you get a certain level. But isn't it also that the Medusa is supposed to stand in front of these pushes once you get level 7, level 8?
I think the mid tower is a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
Just because it's really early on in the game. The Liquid are devoting a lot to this. It's the other issue. They brought 2 cores along for this. Not just the Pugna, but the Pugna and the Veno are here for this. So he's going to get pretty far ahead in terms of XP and gold. it's a pretty heavy commitment for that mid tower, and especially if you don't get it immediately, you just essentially sat 2 cores up there for a full minute mid. The upside, though, is they were able to kill the Necro. If the Necro doesn't die there, then Liquid's game becomes pretty horrible to play.
Why were they putting so much pressure on mid lane? What's so important about taking that mid tower?
Where else is there to go? It's one part of it is where else can you really go? But probably the more pressing concern is you need to be able to take that so that your Chen can have a game, so that your supports don't have to focus on just playing this mid lane anymore. And this should be a free tower.
Oh,
Jabs
missing the Gale.
Get hit.
Tower will drop though. The blast, the roll in. Jabs already backed himself up. GH is going to be able to get the stun off though, and with a bit of body blocking, Jabs should go down. Another kill for Mind Control.
And this is pretty rough right now, just because Mineski, they were doing so well, but they're losing the tower on top of losing heroes. That's the 3rd hero that they've lost in that mid area. They've got to play a little bit more carefully than that, because Liquid, they're showing that they're willing to commit a lot of heroes to taking that mid tower down.
They are getting a lot, though. I mean, there's still 3 of the top 4 heroes on the net worth. All that time, right? It took, like, what, almost a minute and a half for them to finish off that mid tower. That was farming time for the Dusa. Broodmother's taken total control over most of the Radiant jungle as well as the lane. Miracle, you could see, has to play kind of a back-and-forth game where he can only be in lane when his ultimate is up. And Mineski, nice rotation. I like this from Ice. He's going to bring some of his Broodlings into the mid lane, see if they can also even things out by taking that mid tower.
Ice right now is so farmed.
And those Broodlings just won't die with the help of the Necrophos. Big blast off is going to force Jabs, TP out, and Mind Control. That Arcane Rune will get a lot of damage on that tier 1 top
and mid, Mushi does get Galed up. This time they want to try to counter take the mid tower. It is getting quite low, 165 HP. We talked about how important it is in general. Mushi feels like he can't die, so he repeatedly steps over the line. Habitual line stepper.
I love the fact that Dusa is able to do this, though, as a hero. Matumba Man's going to be sent back. Well, it looks like Mind Control was able to get the kill on Moon, top lane.
What is going on?
Mineski just keep on losing heroes that trying to defend these towers. And I feel like it should be a pattern by now that Liquid are not going to be going into the Broodmother lane, and they're not going to be going for the Dusa. So pretty much whoever shows up to defend that 3rd lane is going to be gone on pretty heavily. Ooh, a big stun from GH, but they found it's Shrine. It's open. It's good. Mushi's going to be able to live through that one. A quick assassination attempt by GH fails. But we do manage to take that top tower.
Yeah, not a lot lost there, but like you were saying, the one core that I think is somewhat vulnerable in this game is this Necrophos, especially against that Pugna. Doesn't have a hood or anything like that. Force staff not yet completed. So when Pugna decides to go on him, the only way that he can stop it is if he commits his ultimate.
And that's definitely not going to feel real great. Bog was talking about this on the panel. All the Broodmothers you see, especially when they go mid, make early use of Ancients. You can see even this off-lane Broodmother is beginning to step over the line here into mid and take bolt that tower in due time. He's going to go for the back door now.
Yeah. Very good tower for them to take. Opens up the map a little bit more. Allows them to play this crisscross area a lot more. Makes it easier for their supports to have a game. But they are going to focus on top, not something that they necessarily want to do, but they do want to force Liquid out of here. And Mind Control smells blood. Instead, just going to shove the lane out.
Shove, shove, shove. See if somebody's going to defend that tier 2, and maybe their 3-man rotation sitting inside the jungle can get something out of it. But it seems like Mineski are beginning to learn. They're beginning to pick up on this pattern. They're spending a lot more time in mid, playing very defensive in that 3rd lane always. I mean, this is 2 out of 3 lanes that Mineski owns. Is this not better for them? Right? Aren't they overall winning out on this, or is it simply the fact that there's still an Alchemist farming that's concerning?
Normally you would say things are perfectly fine, but there is always that looming threat of an Alchemist, and that's what I really like about Liquid's drafts. They always have this AM or this Alch, just this hero that's always in the back of your mind that you're thinking to yourself, I've got to be doing something against this hero at all times, or else I'm going to start losing, and that's generally where they start forcing mistakes or unforced errors. And
smoke up from Mineski. Is it time to clear out that dire jungle?
It would be very good right now. It's still nighttime for another 2 minutes. Their Brood, though, can't really help out in this engagement, and she is their highest net worth hero. Should go for a Roshan pretty soon as well. They want to be able to protect this top area so that Ice can go for it if he
Roll
wants.
in, top lane. Looks like they're going to be able to get the stun. Slow down with the Gale. Mushi unable to get off the ultimate. He just lost too much mana too quickly. But Tumman's going to be caught underneath the tower. And he's going to be Reaper's Sight down. A fully out for the Necrophos.
Oh, Kuro goes down too. Liquid full retreat mode right now. Mind Control might just get caught out though. Here comes the fly.
Flying over the trees. He's going to be able to catch Mind Control. Silence first. Now the slowdown of the Void. Long enough for Moon to be able to catch up. Turns around, Blast goes for the suck, but there is the cast to be able to stop that one, so he'll be able to catch the kill eventually. Not giving it to Necrophos. Ninja Boogie will take that kill, 5-6. It's a big win for Mineski.
Yes, but during that time, again, we talk about it, the Alk continuing to farm. The good news for Mineski is that they didn't have to 5 full man for that. They still had the Brood farming on the other side of the map.
Ninja Boogie gets caught deep into the off-lane jungle area.
Still a very close game. Mineski making this one a dogfight.
You know what I like? This interaction between the Alchemist and our Broodmother. Broodmother, a hero that can't really go into that third lane, but he is trying to control 2 lanes very well. He's pushing a lot of his webs deeper and deeper. But I like the fact that Miracle took that long push through the bottom lane, kind of past those webs, and forced Ice to kind of like back up from that mid lane.
No, it's good to be able to protect that. Especially if you're not going to be contributing to fights as the Alk, you at least have to be able to shove out the waves for your team.
Yeah.
He's got the Relic. The worrying sign right now is typically what ends up happening is Alk teams will almost always get the better of you in terms of GPM. While Liquid are still losing in GPM.
Yeah, I mean, Alchemist being the top of the net worth, I mean, that's whatever. That happens all day, right? But for me, the big concerning thing is that the 3 other heroes of Mineski are still beating out both the Pugna and the Venomancer. Venomancer by a long shot, too.
He's going to go down once again. Gets Necro ulted, so he's down for almost a minute. They even give him the Tome. He was just shy of his level 10, that 30 XP talent.
Does Matama Man start, like, buying the wards?
I don't know, man. This game is...
He's about to be overtook by the Chen.
This game's getting way out of control for him right now. And you're right, he's barely ahead. And so pretty much this is going to become the can Alchemist have this crazy game? But he's an Alk, so the answer is always maybe.
It's taken them so long, like that mid tower, right? They definitely got slowed down quite a bit. Full minute and a half to take that one. They've been living up here in this top lane for forever, and they're only just now taking that tier 2. And it's going to be a trade-off, too. As you can see, that bottom tier 2 is about to drop from a small push from Moon.
Yep. Just pushes things over. Are we calling him Moon?
I mean, I'm just kind of switching up back and forth. I figure it's helpful for people maybe watching Mineski for the first time.
Okay, true.
Or Dota for the first time.
Nice, nice. You
but
think
yes,
anybody's playing
not
Dota?
as Moon, for anybody who hasn't picked up on that.
All right, Mushi, gonna clear a lot of these creeps.
Get all
Still,
of them. Ooh, the initiation onto a Medusa. This didn't work so good for Liquid last time. And this time we are going to be able to get off the ultimate for Mushi's going to try and go for the TP out, and is going to be successful. Jab's going to be caught, but honestly, that's worth it. Mineski, they managed to get their big carry out of the way. 4-man gank in top lane.
Yeah, and Miracle just barely gets stunned by the Stone Gaze. Otherwise, he would have been able to stun that Dusa. Very well done. Still, not a lot of action happening aside from that kill. 7-7 is the score at 17 minutes. Ice just opting to transition into a really strong core, trying to keep up with that Aux farm.
Are we seeing the typical build out of our Broodmother?
Yeah, I don't think
haven't
anything.
Seen him clicked on him too often.
I don't think any part of this is too surprising.
Mass Menace, yeah, Desolator. So
yeah, all of his talents are the same.
Yeah. Nothing really changing from our off lane to mid Broodmother.
Yeah.
Build.
350 health is a lot though, as one of his talents.
Yeah.
Nobody gets it, but it is a really strong level 15 talent.
It's just in part like your webs are such a key part of the hero, right, that you need to be able to have them up.
Liquid gonna go for Roche themselves. We talked about how important it was on the Brood, especially with this negative armor build. That's kind of what this core Brood specializes in, being able to do this Roshan early. Because she's similar to Ursa in the sense that she needs that Aegis to be able to play these fights. And that's why Mineski, they're going to full form fight for this.
They're going to try, but the Pugna ward's already up. They've got
Roshan
a nice surrounding defense force, and Roshan is going to go down. But the initiation already up. They're going to be able to bring down the Venomancer. Reaper Sight not quite enough, but a beautiful cast locked in between the two. They're going to finish off the Alchemist, take away that Aegis. Now go for Mind Control in the back line, but Mind Control's too strong. He managed to finish off Ice at Ice with a suck. Now Moon going for GH. If he can get this kill, it'd be huge for his survivability, but he can't quite get it. GH a little bit too far away. Ninja Boogie's going to get him. And they do have the Shrine up, so they are going to be able to back up defensively. That was not bad for Mineski whatsoever.
No, not at all. They even got the Roshan last hit, if you didn't catch that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the snake, when he bounced it in,
oh, no,
to barely hit him on the way in, gets the last hit. I think that's what happened anyways, because I saw a bunch of spells flying there at once. I saw the snake connect. If that doesn't happen, maybe it's even-ish, but that gold matters.
Yeah.
Especially since the Aegis was lost so quickly.
Yeah, they basically got nothing out of that fight.
They lost a whole lot.
They lost a lot.
They didn't get nothing, Cap. They got less than nothing, as up at top,
they are surrounding Moon.
He does not have a TP.
Oh no, he's going to be caught in vision by the ward. No TP either. Silence, slow down, goes to the TP
he's
now.
He's actually just gone.
Oh, he's good?
Very smart.
All right.
Very smart.
You lied to me, Blitz.
They committed the stun for that. They needed to save it.
Yep. I don't know. Why didn't they? I thought the moment they threw down that ward and got vision,
yeah.
Right? I thought, okay, once you've got
dead.
vision and you know he's not TPing, you just hold on to the stun.
No, if you hold on to the stun, I feel like he 100% dies there.
Maybe they
like
also did not click on the Necrophos to know that he had TP.
Maybe they thought they could burst him. He did have it in his backpack. He's just swapped it out.
Oh, okay.
So they probably thought they're... Maybe if he did just like a one quick check. But still, this is not the Liquid that we have come to expect.
This is fighting time soon from Mineski, right? Once they've got that BKB for the Broodmother, you become this unstoppable lock-on force.
Yes. This Broodmother has barely participated in fights past the laning phase. Of course, he was available for the Roshan engagement, which was very important. He absolutely had to be a part of that. But for the most part, he's just kept up in net worth cap. He realizes he needs to be a true one position as well. And it's actually Mineski who's putting more pressure by the fact of having 3 cores on their side, especially since this Veno is less net worth than this Night Stalker.
Earth Spirit, GH is going to be caught. Cass goes forward, does manage to get the Maledict out with the damage of the ward. It's going to be kind of close. GH does have the TP
heal
away. Mind Control with just the extra added
buddy.
help.
But still, look at Matama, man.
Now, I've got a question for you, Blitz, as long as we don't have a fight here. Why doesn't Broodmother at some point try and take over the other side of the map? Why don't you try and go to that top lane, take those towers down, that off lane tier 1 that's still standing, the off lane jungle?
You don't want to slow down your pace of the game.
Okay.
You want to force people to bottom. If you see that you still have a tier 1 at top, it's not as big of a need to defend that. Because you think to yourself, well, we still have 2 towers in the way. But if it's only just you and a tier 3 exposed at bottom, somebody constantly has to be there or your tower's going to take unnecessary damage. And so it's not just simple like, oh, well, let's move the Brood over, because then Liquid will just play the other side. They'll have a tower buffer as well. They can choose to take that tower fight. It's a little bit harder for Brood.
So the threat of the Broodmother is just a lot stronger in that bottom lane.
She's a little bit like NP in that sense.
Okay.
If you're playing against a Nature's Prophet and you lose a tier 2, you always have to make sure that that bottom lane is being counter pressured out. Or if you take the middle of a fight and he just takes racks really easily.
8-10, a 3K gold lead for Mineski. Now that may not sound like a lot, but remember, this is an Alchemist lineup on Team Liquid. They're always supposed to have the net worth advantage, and they do not. By a significant amount, too.
And I'm going to bring this up for the 3rd time in like 2 minutes, but it's largely on the back of the fact that they were never able to get their Veno going.
Yep.
Like, he's got a Veil at 23 minutes. He barely has more net worth than that Night Stalker who's playing the 4 position, who barely has any farm himself. Relative to this game, relative to all games, this Venomancer is very underfarmed.
Matamman's probably complaining to Kuro right now. He's like, I thought this season could be different. I thought maybe I could be a carry instead of just a stepping stone for Miracle.
Nah, dude. Life's hard. Life's tough for all of us, man.
Safe lane carries have it rough. Miracle's going to be gone on the mid lane. It's going to take a lot to bring him down. The Reaper Sight is just enough. So GH with its roll-in is going to be completely ineffective. Look at that damage.
Brood.
And Broodmother. She gobbles up that Earth Spirit, and they're going to go straight for mid. See if they can catch anything more. Ninja Boogie getting some aggressive wards out.
And this is a very good way to play Brood, by the way, Cap. He hasn't made himself exposed at all times. He's kept up in farm. He's done a very good job of getting ahead of the pack right now. And so far, it's paid off. Mineski, they feel very comfortable going later on with this Alk right now.
I kind of feel like the Alchemist against this newer Broodmother that we're seeing that is so single target focused, a lot less effective than he used to be, right? Like maybe he can zone you out from being able to push into some towers once you got that Radiance and stuff, but Broodmothers right now don't care about that. They care about controlling both the Ancients, a lot of neutral camps, and farming and farming and farming until they hit that big, gigantic net worth advantage over most of the enemy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't as simple as that straight up one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
Of course, the Broodmother completely ruined Matama Man's game, never let him get online. That rotation mid that they were forced to take as well, it benefited Mind Control because Mind Control just took all the creeps and they were able to grab some towers for him, but your one position still needs some farm.
Now this is kind of an interesting choice. We don't really see the Aghanim Scepter unless we're dealing with some harder illusion carries, like the biggest example being the Chaos Knight, but an Ags for the Medusa after the Blade Mail and Yasha. Oh, missed roll in on the Broodmother.
Does have a BKB though, so this isn't a real threat. They're just kind of poking at him, seeing what happens, trying to force some responses from Mineski, maybe force some heroes over, but Mineski, I'd imagine they wait till the next Roshan engagement just because they have that area locked up. They don't think that Liquid will take a fight anymore.
What about the Ags on the Dusa though?
Oh, the Ags on the Dusa, I think it's just a good item now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really annoying to play against. It's quite good against the Alchemist.
Yeah, eventually we'll have, well, he's got it already, the Manta illusions out.
It's pretty nice against that.
It also provide a stun
Gives you mana.
For that Pugna, his channel.
Yes.
Right.
I think it's
kind
pretty
of
value
nice
item this game, but I would say that it would be worse if he had to play the true one, but because he doesn't, because he has two other cores that can kind of help lighten the load in that regard.
Yeah, this isn't like full on, I have to 1v5
Yeah,
Dusa,
it's not like a Rapier Medusa
where
where you're playing with like a Scotty and a Manta and a Lincolns. This is like, okay, we've got a lot of mouths to feed. What item will allow me to utilize my farm the best?
Miracle closing in on Octarine. Once we get to the full 6-slotted Alchemist, we'll start passing out Aghanim Scepters. They did bring up on the panel, Team Liquid is a full Ags team. But I'm not sure if that's really going to change a whole lot here. Mineski, it looks to me like they're just going to go high ground in like the next 10 minutes. With second Roshan, take that tier 3, then you can take the Shrines, wait for a third Roshan, then end the game.
Maybe, but if that doesn't happen,
but okay,
that's a lot of Ags net worth inflation.
It's still a Dusa late game though. Are you not at all concerned that like late game Alchemist is not the be all end all carries,
Cap.
right? Okay.
Hear me out.
Blitz has got that cheeky smile. I know he's got some weird ass idea.
Here's what happens: you give it to Earth Spirit, and he just kicks people in. He stones him and just kicks him in.
Okay.
That's your counter. That's how you win this game. Mind Control messed up. He bought his own Ags.
I was expecting a whole lot more out of that.
Nah, dude, it doesn't get crazier than that.
All right, Alchemist is going to be slowed down a little bit.
Oh,
the rest of his team is coming in. They're going to try and save him. Mind Control healed him up quite a bit, so the Reaper Sight is just not going to be enough, but Broodmother's damage is more than enough. They're going to be able to get the Earth Spirit too. Now it's a grab all. What more can they get? Ninja Boogie going to slow down the Chen. Stop the Silencer from casting any slows, but his team not going to be able to keep up with him. Is Roshan up? I don't think it is, right? No, it's
It'll
not.
be very soon, and that is not good news for the Liquid, who thrives on being the Roche team most of the time. But this game, it does not favor them. Neither of the supports really have a game. Matama Man has picked up a 4-staff now, but it feels like he's 10 minutes too late to the party.
Yeah.
As they might even decide to go high ground. They're pushing in all the waves. And you notice, by the way, without even the Brood being there, they did naturally take out that tier 1. They forced Liquid to take these very fractured fights as a result of them always having to deal with bottom, the Brood pressure.
Right.
And that's exactly why you don't want to completely ruin your game as Brood. Go take that top tier 1 tower. Your team can do that by themselves. At some point, it'll come more naturally to you, where the pace of game is met a little bit more. You've taken Roshan, you've got control of that area. Your supports feel comfortable placing wards a little bit deeper.
Ice, ice, ice. Popping that ultimate as a war cry. See if Mind Control wants to do battle, but he will not. 8-14, 7,000 net worth lead for Mineski. You could see score's just not looking so hot on Team Liquid right now.
Yeah. Nobody really picking up farm aside from this Alk, and even this Alk has had a very rough time.
What's the 25 talent? It's more webs for Broodmother, right? Whole lot more.
Yeah, I think somebody was telling me like all the spider talents are kind of garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're not really, in the past it was like you were a broodling hero, but now you're not.
Yeah, it used to be like spiders were your thing, but now spiders are just a farming tool, right?
Dude. If you really want to make it in this world, you've got to learn to pivot. And Brood's definitely learned how to pivot. You got to find a new, new profession, like
Broodmother's a strong, independent spider.
Yeah. Went back to school, got a STEM degree, loaded up.
Now she's making that money.
Really is.
Liquid, man, they look so scared. Constantly four-manning while the Alchemist does his thing. It's pretty much just the Alchemist show right now. Like, for Liquid, they just kind of have to wait until Alchemist can start giving them some net worth.
Dude, that's the hope. That's the dream right now. But guys, you might think that I only have 8K net worth as
TP, not going to make it.
That's a good kill, and that's an important one just because this Roshan is up, and now Liquid, they've got to be decisive. You have to go in for this and commit, because in a full 5v5, you lose that fight quite badly.
And it's not like the Night Stalker is a huge boon to Mineski, but I think this is the only advantage that Liquid are ever going to be able to find.
And Mineski, I think they still want to take this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Stunned up. They're going to pop the ultimate now.
There we go.
There goes the Manta, and he's going to go straight for the back line, going for the Witch Rock to the easy kill. Reaper Scythe going to hold him in with damage. It's just not enough for the Broodmother yet, but it will finish off eventually. Now the extra bit of damage from the Earth Spirit. They're trying to finish off Roshan still, but stuck inside the pit. Pugna's going to end up going down. Witch Doctor throwing out the ultimate. It's not going to do a whole lot. A great ultimate from Matuma Man, but can they actually kite these heroes around well enough?
They are
Mind staying alive inside that pit. Roshan trying to beat him to death, but it's just not going to happen. Necrophone's going for it. Mind Control still going for that Deuce. He's slowing him down even more. Somebody needs to save this Dosa. He's going to go down. He ends up dropping. Ice comes back into it after a buyback, but he may not be able to catch these heroes. They send back Mind Control. Matuma Man slows and gales him away. And Liquid, they get out. They may not be able to get Roshan, but they get out of that fight.
They're going to go back right in there as Mind Control gets healed up. Going to go back in there.
Oh, that's if Ice doesn't finish off first. They're trying to zone out the rest of Liquid, but they still have the numbers advantage. And the buyback is going to allow Ice to get that Aegis.
They committed the buyback for that, but Liquid, kings of the scrappy fight.
Jesus.
Absolutely no way, just in terms of net worth, that they should be able to win that fight, especially with their Alk going down so quickly, but Mind Control willing them into this game right now.
How did he stay so strong in that pit for so long?
He did such a good job of space management. Yep. When the Alk went right, he decided to go left. He cut up, he took the high ground, and then he just said, "Come to me. King Kong ain't got shit on me."
Feels like Mineski a little bit fractured in their shot calling as well. Saw like the Necrophos separating himself from the Dusa. Trying to chase down the Earth Spirit.
Especially since there's no Magnus or Earthshaker or Enigma or anything like that, you need to play this tight ball style where you move together, you need to take this together. But as soon as they split up, because they were pretty confident that they were going to win that fight, they even had to commit the buyback for the Brood, and still it's a little bit ugly, a little bit messy, and Liquid once again finds a little bit of spark of hope.
It's a very small one, but if they can kill that Broodmother 2 times in a row, or maybe they just wait for the Aegis to go out, and if they can find the kill in that like 1 to 2 minute timer they got between the Aegis being away and the buyback still being off cooldown.
Yeah, and right now mid, Nana is invised up. They wanted to do the
Reaper
ultimate on the out.
just to hold them, but they do have Mind Control up in the top lane, trying to get the heal out. Miracle trying to dodge a little bit with that Manta, but it's just too much damage it looks like. Matamba Man trying to run interference. The heals from Mind Control, just not enough. Mind Control on the top lane is not going to be enough heals. Miracle is down, and the rest of Liquid, I can't even believe they're even thinking about turning on this. They're trying to focus on the Necrophos. He has to get out real quick. Good force staff gets him out of range of that one. And Mind Control is just a real damage dealer right now. Matamba Man slows down the the Broodmother even more, looking to be able to pop that Aegis. Ninja Boogie comes back in, goes to the Chen. Way too far out, but Mind Control is getting some of the supports. Little bit of suck there on the jabs. They have a buyback on both Miracle Oh, actually, they don't have it on Chen, but I don't think that one matters too much. So they can defend high ground with the buyback, but it's going to be something Mineski are going to be able to force here.
I mean, Pugna is the king of holding this high ground. He can always just blast out, clear the creeps, continuously drain, make things as annoying as possible. Mind Control doing just that, getting rid of the illusions, and this should be a successful hold. Even the kick.
Aggressive force staff in with the kick. Ice stunned right in front of his shrine, but he's going to go for Mind Control. Doesn't have the diffuser blade to be able to pop that. Now has it off cooldown, but it's going to be a bit too late to go for that kill. So Mineski have to back up as the Alchemist is coming back up in 10 seconds. You're right, Blitz. King of the high ground, it seems, is Mineski unable to even just take that tier 3 to unlock shrines. Now Liquid still going out here. Mushi does get stunned up by GH. Trying to go for the TP out, will be successful.
And GH stunned up, doesn't have a boulder smash even if he wanted it. But
oh, looks like Moon got caught. Force staff out, forced to pop the cheese here.
He does have a BKB though. TP in 2 seconds. He should be able to just BKB TP, and he's going to do exactly that.
Liquid force whatever they can at this point. You could see so little buybacks available.
Yeah, and a relatively clean escape.
Yes, relatively. Force out of cheese, BKB charge.
Those BKB charges, down to 5 seconds for the Broodmother. Pugna played very well. Mind Control being the true one position. It's pivoted again. Insane. It's changed again. A second ago, it was like, okay, this Alc has to carry. Now it's this Pugna has to do all the dirty work. And that's the scary part about Liquid. Their core is very talented, but still, Mineski have played this game so well, putting themselves in a very good position to still take this game.
I guess that's something that we didn't really talk about because, I don't know, it's just a Broodmother game, so naturally you feel like you don't need it as much, but strong initiation, right? For these team fights, Mineski very much lack that. They can't really get to that backline very easy on the Pugna, so it was all fine and well and good when Broodmother was forcing the enemy team apart, and we had all these fractured team fights, but now as you go to high ground, right? Full 5-on-5s are going to happen. It's really tough for them to actually get to that back line somehow.
Yeah, they don't have stuns. That's the main part of it. They don't have stuns. Their gap closing is really bad. Like, who gap closes on this team?
Nobody.
Like,
the Necro kind of run in. It's Night Stalker, force staff Necro in.
Oh, and this fight outside the base.
Another BKB got to be blown. Liquid,
they want to take this fight with a BKB down. They're angling forward right now, feeling very confident, even at nighttime.
Ice away to the trees, but now they're actually going to try and cut Liquid in half with Mushi going in with the ultimate, forces some of the win, but they're not really getting enough, and Ice is still having trouble with that Alchemist, but is going to be able to get some healing back. It is now, the ultimate goes on, Mind Control, finish off jabs, now the rest of the Liquid is here to be able to save Miracle's life. He's got the stun come up, and Broodmother, he's down! Moon, BKB, forced down over the cliff, he's got to be able to get away as well. Earthspear trying to chase out that Duso, force that for the Centaur just to see if they can catch him. But they missed the kick. A jump forward. Oh, they're still going to be able to get Moon, though. Mataba Man's trying to run him down. Looks like the Dusa was able to get away, but Broodmother down for 100 seconds. If they can get this Necrophos as well, which they will, caught him out with a stun. Miracle is just too damn fast.
And they don't have any buyback on that Brood either, and we see that the lack of lockdown just biting them in the asses. They can't hold anybody down. Liquid is able to split that fight perfectly. Mind Control beelines inside that Roshan pit for cover, just starts draining targets down. Once they lose jabs, they truly have no disables. And Liquid with another successful fight.
Night Stalker gets caught. Liquid find another one.
Really thought that this was going to be the game for Mineski, but Liquid playing out of their minds right now. And if there was one fight that Mineski should be able to take, it's around that Roche pit, outside the bases. The drain goes down, the kick flies, doesn't land. But outside that base where you have a lot of webs, you've got open territory, it's a little bit easier to pin heroes down. That should be your advantage, but even that's been lost to them.
Maledict on Miracle, but a Solar Crest. So much armor.
Oh, here we go.
Ew, what a bounce there. They're going to be able to catch Alchemist. Concoction goes out.
He doesn't care at all.
They're not going to be able to get anything. He just turns away from Mushi to continue to hit on that tier 3 tower. This has got to be mid laner Brax, as there's still 25 seconds on that Broodmother.
And we talked about how it was going to be a little bit hard for that Necro to be able to kill this Alc later on with that regen.
Are they going to go for more? 15 seconds. They'd be really pushing it if they went for another one.
I think they've got time. I think they should be able to feel that they can't really die in these engagements anymore. Alchemist. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Popping that fresh chemical rage. Goes for another one. Mushi still does not have his ultimate. And again, with the lack of stuns, it's so important to have every single one of them. TP coming in. Ice. The Broodmother on the front line. Immediately gets locked up by GH. So
BKBs
that
are
pursuit
popped.
from Mineski is just not going to be able to catch anything.
Yes, and that's a giant charge of BKB to be used, especially for this high ground defense if Liquid decides to push this out, but they can just go for the shrines instead, reset the game a little bit, surround this Roshan area, get a little bit more map control, because right now if you're Liquid, momentum is completely on your side. Net worth does not matter, because Mineski simply just cannot fight you anymore.
Man, this is just crazy. I thought for sure 5 minutes ago, I was looking at that tier 3 at mid lane's going to go down because Alchemist is dead for like 30 seconds. Couldn't even finish that tier 3, and it's Liquid shortly thereafter who take the first lane of Brax.
Yeah, and it was this Pugna, really, that did so much work for them.
Yeah.
Mind control, if they win this game, clear-cut MVP for me. Not even close. The amount that he's done for his team, keeping people alive, assaulting the backlines, keeping hidden. The fact that he hasn't died, he has 0 defensive items, no Force Staff or anything like that, has a Blink Dagger instead, just refuses to go down 8-1-7, hasn't died since the early game, absolutely dominant. On the side of Mineski, their core's still very strong in terms of net worth, but the same issues apply. And look at the Medusa's item build. I was about to say this. He had the ulti orb. You have to change your build. You need more lockdown.
Yeah.
So he goes to the Hex instead. Very smart decision. But at this point, the question is...
But it cost him a lot of damage.
Hopefully, though, the Broodmother's going to be there for him.
Yeah.
To lay out that DPS. Because who cares how much damage you have if you can't lock anybody down to deal it?
I mean, but even if you Scythe of Ice somebody, right? If it's not the Pugna, Pugna's in the back line, he just throws that heal on whoever that single target they're trying to go on.
Yeah, they really want this Pugna down right now.
They got to get an initiation blitz. So how do we change this narrative for Mineski? All these team fights have been terrible. We saw the last initiation around that Roshan pit where they tried to like cut Liquid in half, basically, with Miracle on the Shrine area and Mushi zoning everyone else out. That obviously wasn't the key to victory. What is?
I think they've got to shove out all the lanes using the Brood. And after that, you try to smoke up, maybe go the long way around, go top down, look for that Pugna. You have to have a better approach than just kind of ramming full force into Liquid, though.
Is this why we see Liquid being so aggressive every single time? I feel like they're being very much in your face. Is it because they just don't want to give Mineski that room to split push?
You don't want to give them any sort of breathing room. And on top of that, they just don't fear them anymore. They said to themselves, wow, guys, they really have no AoE. They've got no team fight. Mainly, they just have single target spells. This bodes very well in our favor. Let's just run at them. And so far, been very successful. The Alchemist, absolutely massive.
I feel like this Aghanim Scepter is a really big pickup, though, for Mineski's Necrophos.
You think so? I
mean, every single time we're using Reaper's Scythe to lock down a hero in the beginning of the fight. And these fights are drawn out a little bit.
Yes. So it's largely been Miracle that he needs to be able to use that to execute, just because using it when Miracle's at 2/3 HP clearly does nothing. He just heals from that. This has to be your finishing spell. And Nana has misplayed that a little bit. You got to make sure that if you throw that thing out there, it's going to deal a killing blow. But once again, Roshan is the real prize for this game, as both teams centered around that. Miracle going to shove out bottom. Conversely, top's going to get shoved out too. Both teams trying to force the other away from that area. And Liquid's going to bite first. Miracle with his travel boots can very safely do this, and now Mineski has to respond. It's do or die time. Do you deal with this Alchemist, or do you just commit for this Roshan?
Gale, they're going to go from on top of man with a Scythe of Ice. A defensive Force Staff gives him some distance, but it's not going to be enough. A BKB popped, another Force Staff, but he doesn't get over the cliff.
He's getting
he
low.
does manage to get off his ultimate, and there goes the Reaper's Scythe to hold him a little bit longer. They finally finish him off, and looks like Jabs and Mushi are enough to force him back. But Miracle did not TP into that fight. He kept up the push in bottom lane, and he's chipping away that tier 3 so fast. They've got to deal with it immediately. Deuce is going to be the second one back here. The only one who could really deal with these illusions. And
Liquid should just immediately go back into that Roche pit. This might have been a mistake. Matuma Man buys back for this. Mineski, you've got to be in full retreat mode right now.
All right, Mineski, glad they backed out of that pit before they got caught. You knew that was going to be a nasty engagement. So Liquid have the time now to be able to go for this Roshan while these heroes work themselves from bottom all the way to the top lane, but it's just too fast. They're going to give both the Aegis and Cheese. They're still going to try and force this fight, though. Not a stun. They're going to be able to get Reaper Scythe off GH at a full health. That does nothing. BKB popped by Moon. They do manage to get the stun on so many heroes with this Zeus ultimate, but it just doesn't do a damn thing because they don't have any damage. Now Miracle, large and in charge with a BKB popped, is running down heroes. Unstable Concoction. Looks like he's going to go for the easy one first on Ninja Boogie, leaving Matumba Man to try and slow down Mushi. Does successfully get the kill. Here comes Ice. They get back into it with the Scythe of Ice. Miracle low on mana, but does have the Chemical Rage out.
Where's your damage?
Instead, goes for Kuro in the back lines. Matumba Man manages to pop his BKB. Oh, but Ice gets stunned up, and it's just too much. Mind Control managed to finish him off. 2 minutes down. Mushi's almost dead. Liquid are running over Mineski in a game that I thought was surely theirs. But Liquid, they made the comeback. Triple kill from Miracle. 3 heroes down with no buyback. This surely is the end.
Yeah, and Mineski right now, they're going to take a second to assess just what the hell happened. Oh, GG is called as Liquid. They just scrap it out. I mean, this wasn't the prettiest win, but it's damn good being able to come back in a fashion like this. Ooh.
Damn, Liquid. The resolve, holding on to that game, finding a way to be able to win these team fights. I mean, it just really felt like they, you know, maybe it was Kuro, maybe it was someone else that had the read on, like,